The amount we used to buy 10 bags 2 years ago can hardly buy a bag this time around. Today, I was supplied a full bag onions. The cost from the supplier is 47,000. Just less than 3 months ago, the same bag of onion cost just about 5,000. Now we have to deal with the customers' outcry, because whatever we sell to the customers right now, they see it as expensive. Then we become faced with recovering our capital costs before we even dare to see profits. Even at 47,000, I got this bag of onion at a fairly cheap price, because right here, Abuja, the supplier cost of a bag of onion is now 60,000. Now let's talk about rice. What we used to sell around 20,000, even at the peak of scarcity, is now sold for about 40,000. Yet the governments are blind and deaf to the plight of the people, oblivious that God has appointed to these positions and can remove them if God so wishes. If the government thinks and remember God, then they must understand the plight of the poor masses. It is good for the government to know that this situation they have created is often reflected in the lives of the masses. For some aged, like myself, who have been through difficult times and experienced life, it is easy to take life as destiny.
When you come to the market, you find out that the rate in which you used to buy some food stocks is no longer what you buy these days because it has increased. I think it's a big challenge to both the seller and the buyers, because what they are really paying is not even enough to buy what is available in the market. So it's a big challenge.
Funny enough, most of these things are this is supposed to actually be its season. Like plantain is very much available in the market, and the plantain did not actually go up, just like other perishable goods. Everything is supposed to be in its season now, but some are affected by some advantages that I cannot for now point out. But plantain is actually not that expensive like other products.
So many infrastructures are not in place. Infrastructure is out of place, and that's why we are suffering now. Because, like, for example, we're talking about power supply. Most of these things that they are produced in Nigeria right now, they're supposed to be produced in Nigeria, they need power to produce, but they don't have transportation, inadequate transportation. So many of our produces, they're in the farm, they can't get to the city. They get wasted.
We did not import onions. Onion is what we plant in this our country. And still yet, the price is high every day. Do we import onions? Onion is not rice. Even at that, you said rice, they should block border. Because of maybe they know their reason. I don't care to know their reason. Okay, where is the local rice that you produce that will make that will be above enough for other people? Even as they block the border, there are still foreign rice in the market. There are still foreign rice. Okay, where are they coming from? If you go to Marabana, go to all these outside shops, you will see foreign rice. They are the people distributing to other maybe mini shops. Where are they getting it? Now they close border over a year. Okay, those rice, where are they coming from? What they do now in orange market, because I normally go to orange market. What they do now, let me tell you the system. It's outside that are selling onions. If 10 people are supposed to go to market to go and bring onion, they will split it into 2. 5 people will go. Because they know if 10 people go to market and bring, the price will come down. You understand? That is just their secret. I'm telling you their secret. Instead of 20 people to go to market to go and bring so that the price will drop, they will split themselves into 2 or 3. 5 will go today, they will sell tomorrow and next tomorrow. Then after next tomorrow, another 5 will go. You understand? That is their system. Tomato of 18 now. If tomato enter Maraba orange market by 8 o'clock in the morning, they will not sell it again. Unless they finish the one they want to sell before they will drop that one. Okay, tell me how the price will drop. Since they will not bring much. Not that this thing they are in the bush. But is the traders. Most of this problem we are facing now, traders contribute. They say Nigeria. Traders contribute because they know how they are doing their business. They know how they are sharing their self to go to market and bring. Like for example, if you come to market now, you say this place is filled up of tomato. They are still high, that price will drop. You understand? But if you are few, I will increase my own, you will increase your own. That is the problem we are facing in Nigeria.
If it is for onions it is the season. Every year it do cost, but it's not like the previous year. But what I'm just thinking as my own observation, what make onions increase is the rain that fall very well, that spoiled the onions that are supposed to be produced by this time. The extension of river that flow goes to like Sokoto, Meduguri, where they used to plant onions. That's what makes it to be very high this year. Last 2 weeks, we buy onions at the rate of 50,000. 2 weeks. We used to sell it 2,500 per basket. But last week, we buy 60,000. We sell it 3,000 per basket. But now, this week, we buy 75,000 naira and we sell it 3,500.
People actually took advantage of it and they started putting price on the price of goods and services. Like if you go to market now, you hardly buy things. Like something you used to buy like 200 naira before, maybe it's now likely 500 naira. So it's not something that one can talk about. It's painful. Like the other day I went to the market, a roll of tomatoes that I normally buy 250, they now said it's 600 naira. I know I bought in bulk at home, and when the thing finished, I had to go to the market. I couldn't buy, so I have to come back home.
Everything in the market, down to our foodstuffs, provisions. There is no money in town and we can't afford. You come to market with the sum of 30,000 and hoping to have 1 bag of rice and oil. At the end, you'll not be able to get the rice unless you go for local rice. And they promise us that our local rice will be fine and standard, stone-free, which is a lie. It has stone. You can't eat it. And there's no money to afford the foreign rice.
What did they happen for this our market now is too much. We say we know fit bear am, but we leave everything for God. All year now, this all year wait 25 litre now is 20,000 now. You understand? Gari is 450 now. Beans is 450. You understand? Maggi is 650 now. Nothing way they easy for this market now. Even water they don't increase now. Water where they buy 1,100, would they buy now 1,150. You understand? Everything for this market now is getting out of hand. So we don't know what we go do. What are people they know they work? People they know they work. And they go the market where would they go? Those market where rich people they go, now where they go to. How we want to survive this hardship way they now?
Customers have been complaining about the increase of goods. In fact, it's discovered that the prices of goods we sold last month is quite different. Things are increasing every day. And people are really angry. Seriously, they're angry on these governments. Things are not, in fact, Nigeria are not really happy at all. Things you buy last week, when you come to the market this week, discover that it has really increased. Goods of price are really increasing every day. You discover kings that they are selling 13,000. Now, when you come to the market, it's being sold for about 20,000. A lot of things, a lot of goods. Tin tomatoes, you discover that tin tomatoes that we buy 15 naira before is of increase now about 150. Carton is about 6,000. So, a lot of things is increased. Even flour for making bread, for baking, is of the increase now. Everything is increasing every day.
Everything is expensive, like most especially oil and flour, butter, like everything. Okay, before we used to get a carton of butter like 7,500, 8,000, but now a carton of butter is 12,000, 11,500, and flour has added a lot, like 14,000 plus 15,000. Oil is even 20-something K now.
Market now, everything costs. Like onions now, 65,000 badge. Especially rice, everything. One basket now, 3,000. Basket, small basket, yo. Before person buy pepper, buy rice, you see too much. Person go carry 300 and come market. Go there like say you throw away money. This is too much, yo. Especially me, I'm the first one in Nigeria. I don't tire. If we go work, no gain.
The challenges we are facing now, everything is so expensive. It's not like before.
The time when we start the sale and before, if you have 5,000 or 10,000, you go use that money, do your business, the go market. But now, if you don't have 50,000 or 100,000, 150, you know go feed go market now. Yeah, what would they buy for 1 kwalia before? 10,000, 7,000 safe. Now, 50,000, 30,000, more than 30. So everything now, it don't increase.
Idan gwamnati tana tunanin da irin wannan cewar Allah fa shi ya dauke su ya dora su akai, to ya kamata su dinga tunanin cewar.
Well, what's going to happen initially is the expression of shock. The rice they used to buy for 500 now costs 1,000. Even if one buys the bag of rice at a cost of 27,500, he may not be able to sell more than 27,500.
I remember when we started Semo, the Golden Penny product. For example, I know it was around 3,100 and 3,001 thereabout. But as at now, I think it's around almost to 4,000. So you see the margin. So if you even go to Ayola, I know as at the time I started with this company, Ayola was about 11,000 plus. But today, Ayola is around 16,000 plus. King's Oil, to my best of knowledge, was around 7 to 8 something. But as of today, you can get King's Oil about 23,000 to 24,000 naira.
Before, something the live gold we are buying before, 10,000 naira. Now, you will buy it at 15,000 naira. It's not like before. Now you can kill like a 5 goats, sell it finish. You can see shots. It's not like before. When before you can sell like 10,000 naira goats, like 5. You can see 5,000 naira again or 7,000 naira again. But now, when we are buying 10,000 before, now you can, it's hardly for you to get it like 14,000 or 15,000.
Spaghetti as at then was 3,800. While we sell to customers 4,000. But now we are buying at the rate of 4,500. Down to Indomie has increased prices. Indomie chicken before was 1,850, but it's now 2,500. Super pack is now 4,000. Everything's changed.
Everything for market now, nothing good to buy. You go meat side na wahala, fish side na wahala. Pomo where be poor man meat now like crayfish unko. What be the thing we no cost? Leave Ikuma where be say anybody who no get blood make it go buy and lie. They not fit buy them again. Nothing where person fit to buy for this market now. As we did so, it's only God will put our trust in. God will never fail us. If He may fail us, God will never fail us.
The National Economic Council cited reasons for food inflation in Nigeria to the restrictive effect of the global pandemic coronavirus, which delayed the annual planting and harvesting of crops. The recent EndSARS protest, which stalled food transportation and delivery, as well as widespread looting and destruction of food stores. The Northwest insurgency and farmer-herder clashes, which hindered farmers from their farms, hence resulting in food crisis.
The continuous increase in dollar is one of the reasons, because most of these raw materials that are used in producing those foodstuffs are not from Nigeria, so they're imported from other countries. So by the time you import, you have to pay the costs which you use importing it from the other side. Then so definitely it will be the same thing. The second reason which I see is that we Nigerians on our end, we like to make good use of every available opportunity we have, especially the company. Some of them, they see it as an opportunity, to make more money. So even when it's convenient for them to reduce it, but they think I won't be left out, let me do it. Because there is not even any government policy to regulate how to sell, how to buy, and all that. I think that is a big challenge.
Excess rain. We had excess rain this year and leading to spoilage of goods in the bush. Another thing again that is a cause for this thing is the problem of insurgency in areas where these things are being grown. For instance, like the onions now, we get them from Maiduguri and Sokoto and the other place like that. But because there's a kind of insurgency, so many farmers are not being allowed or granted their rights to go to the farm and plant these things. And because of that, you actually notice that those producing are very few. And because of that, it actually brings for inflation. Another cause for the rise of these goods, I'd said, is lack of provision for farmers in the local areas for them to actually grow these goods. We can notice that most farmers don't even have the access to producing so many kind of these goods, they are not given grounds by the government to carry out mechanized farming, and because of that, you know that it will actually bring reducing production. There's a number of people looking for these things, and then it's not quite much, and because of this, the few that is actually available will bring a kind of struggle between customers, buyers, and all of that.
What I can say most that affected most, that many people does not go farm. Coronavirus too, we can still say it affected it, because many people does not go farm during the period that they're supposed to prepare their land, to prepare towards the time that they will plant the onions.
Some people say it's due to COVID-19 pandemic, but I don't really believe that. Other countries face the same situation, but they are living more better than Nigerians. Nigeria, we have resources, there is money in our country, but our leaders are bad.
As a result of these and more, the Osasu Show was out to hear directly from the people, the buyers and sellers alike, on what they think of the issue at hand and the way forward.
The government should wake up, because they have not been doing the needful. Because if we have agencies who have bodies who regulate those prices, I don't think we'll be where we are now. Because if those bodies are there to check, one, the standard of the product, and two, to monitor the price, I don't think anybody can say anyhow. For example, if I know there's someone monitoring me to sell this oil at the rate of 1,000 naira, I won't sell it above that. But if I know that nobody is there to monitor me, I can buy at any rate and sell at any rate. So I can decide to. So what I really need to advise the government is, let the agencies, which they are put in place, let them wake up. Let them take up their responsibility and do the needful, so that this country will be a better place for all of us.
I would advise the government to actually give ground to farmers and make production, things that are needed for production, very much available for them. And another thing again, I would still actually advise the government. I would actually advise the government to empower farmers, whether with small loans and maybe with manufacturing this thing. They should just actually make sure that they make provisions for them. I would also advise that the government should make security very much available for these farmers, so that they can be able to carry out their farm activities. And then another thing is the increment of fuel. You know, I would say fuel is a power engine to so many things that go on in this country. If the moment transportation of these goods from the bush to the actual market where they are needed is very high, then you don't expect the prices of these things to be at a reduced cost. So I would advise that there should be a stabilized form of supply of oil, whereby there is a subsidized rate in which this oil has been sold. Because without oil to carry out, to convey this in our vehicles, to convey this from the bush to particular market, you can find it very difficult that you come and get this thing at a particular rate. So I would say that oil should also be made available to I think cars and all of that, and machines. You know, oil too. We use oil. Some people that, like in this period now, this period of dry season, you know, that will carry out irrigation farming. Most people fuel their engine to power water from the streams to various sources. So I will also appeal that oil should be made at a reduced cost for people, so that they can be able to buy and carry out their agricultural processes.
The government needs to be consistent and not be pressured into shifting policies anyhow just to satisfy people for now. If they can be consistent and ensure that they implement the policies the way they should be, we'll get out of these things.
Please, the government should try to help the market people too. Things are really increasing, please.
To us, we the poor masses, like the thing is not good. Like they should look into it. They should like try and do something, because now, okay, the year is coming to an end. People are meant to like, okay, do things to the family members, like help out, even if like those ones that don't have anything.
To abin da yake faruwa dai na farko mutum zai taho. Da ya san shinkafan nan a naira 500, sai ya zo ya ce ta koma 1000.
I just want to employ the government to remember that only God has placed them in the administration. whatever they do, they must do it well. Not wait until it is election time to start making empty promises just to get our votes. They must respect the promises they make, else God will judge them upon their failure to fulfill the promises. Because life is hard for the small-scale business owner. If one is not making progress in business, life gets difficult too. Because when a small business owner takes supplies on credit with small interest, if he is not able to pay back, he won't get another credit. I advise the government to remember God as the creator of all whom have chosen to place them in high places. He can remove them at will. The government needs to help the poor masses live in a better condition. Imagine a small business owner with low profit margin. He needs 500. His family needs 2,000 and he's not able to provide.
Government, I beg, my government to help us because wahala done too much. To chop now wahala. Children to feed children now wahala. So we know they feed our children now well. Our children their house. Some children man where we don't go school now, they sit down for house. Some they work up and down. No work, nothing to do. So want my government to help us.
It is certain that various factors with emphasis to the pandemic have distressed the economy in various regards, thereby leading to increased food insecurity, poverty, unemployment, and above all, inflation. The people are doubtful but yet hopeful as to what the future holds. As at now, the solution lies majorly in the hands of the government.
In my program, I bring the studio to the street and interact with everyday Nigerians, taking their worries, their concerns, their questions directly to the ears of their leaders. Senate President Bukola Saraki, Distinguished Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, His Excellency Nyesom Wike, Governor Okezie Victor Ikpeazu, the Executive Governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom. We interrogate the policies and objectives of key stakeholders in the political and development sector to ensure that the impact trickles down to the poorest of the poor in our society.
These people in the house, most of them, their brain don't work.
But do you agree that there were accusations that you made during the campaign that were not necessarily founded?
Me?
Yes. So what do they call the incident of October 2006?
No impeachment. They call it rascality.
Rascality. My goal is to dig deep and find the truth, then give meaning, understanding, and solution to it.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of the Osasu Show. Today we do one of my favorite things, which is to go into the streets and feel the pulse of everyday Nigerians. We ask them their expectations of the 9th Senate, given the fact that over 4 billion naira was appropriated for the expenses of incoming legislators. Nigerians react to this. They give us their opinions juxtaposed with a new minimum wage which hasn't been implemented yet. We attend the Emerging Entrepreneurs Summit, the 2019 edition, where we feel the pulse of young people who are wanting and yearning to be entrepreneurs. They speak to us about their hopes and aspirations, and my humble self, as well as other speakers and guests, are able to give them our own experience and our own feedback from being successful entrepreneurs. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back on the Osasu Show.
5.68 billion naira has just been signed for the 9 assembly to be shared among themselves. But the 30,000 minimum wage has been refused to be signed. That shows that the federal government are selfish. These people will save the country for 4 years. At the end of the day, they will pay them their allowance, pay them their pension, pay them everything. But the workers will serve over 30 years. At the end of the day, they will go home with nothing. That's why every time they want to contest the election, they will do all manner of things to make sure that they win and succeed, because they know what is involved. It is a selfish idea. That amount of money is much, and nobody is saying something. Nobody is saying anything, because even though you say it, they will not do anything. Yeah, the indigent, that is the Nigerian, the less privileged. Our talks doesn't count in this country. We don't have a say. Even though you say it, who will listen? Will they act upon it? They will not do anything. For how many months will it take to approve just 30,000 for workers? They can't do that, because it's not for them. Whatever is going to benefit them, they will do it. They can't do what is going to benefit us Nigerians. That money is much.
The 4.6 million naira they released for the National Assembly, that is to show that the government has nothing for the public. That is for the masses. So they are after themselves, and that is why the money is being released for their own sake or for their own usage. So then the masses now who are voting them into power should remain in poverty, and that is why I kept on saying that the government has nothing to offer to the masses. The issue of minimum wage, I think one other time I heard from television that if you go to South Africa, they pay up to 100 and something thousand. But in Nigeria, we are battling of common 30,000 naira. It's a very, very bad something. Very poor, and it's very bad. And I believe the state government, governors, they are paying special advisors and their aides and all the boys around them, they are ending well. But when it comes to the civil service or civil servant, they are paying them peanuts. It's very bad.
Well, first of all, I think it's definitely not the masses. It's not the government of the masses. It's not the government of the majority. It's definitely the government of the few rich and connected people. You understand? This 30,000 naira they are talking about is barely $100. And Nigeria is right now, by international organizations, is the poorest country in the world. And yet legislators are getting so much money. And the masses, which is the vast majority, who elected them into position. This is a democracy. The vast majority who elected them into various positions are at the receiving end of this. I call it an anomaly. It is too much for legislators that are the highest paid, one of the highest paid in the world. It is too much for a country that is the poorest in the world. And these legislators have several allowances. They have salary. They also have constituency projects of which they allocate them. They also have juicy committees, and you're still giving them, a lot of money as allowances for furniture and these things. And most of these legislators were in government, have been in government for a very long time. So these things, for me, it's definitely too much.
It's a worry hard to know that we are an African. We are still in a third country. We are still underdeveloped. Our reason is still backward. Fundamentally, in the world, precisely Americans, London, and other countries, they have regard over their masses. In Africa, using Nigeria as a point of contact, we are still backward. We have no regard over our masses, whether someone is dying, someone has not eaten. Our leadership are self-centered. They have no regardness of the people whom they are ruling. Okay, we are talking about 30,000 minimum wage. In South Africa, they are paying 120,000. They are paying 120,000. Then look at the ratio. The ratio are not the same, and people work every day. The senators, politicians, they are giving them heavy amount of money, whether people, the civil servants, that are suffering. That's why there's a lot of criminality, there's a lot of armed robbery, there's a lot of kidnapping, because the youth cannot hold themselves because of all this that is happening. You see, most of the time, our leaders, doesn't take correction. That is their problem. They does not take correction. And that's the reason why most of the time, if the kidnapping want to start, let the kidnapping start from them. Let them be. Now I'm just telling you, because there are some youth now, they are jobless, have been graduated for many years, no job anywhere. That money is enough to create industry. That money is enough to create companies to employ people. If there's a lot of killing, let the killing start from them, so that they will wake up. That killing start, they will wake up. That money is enough to put food on poor man's table, but they will not. They have no. They do whatever they like to do. Say after all, like this country now, no, the law is not being regarded. The law is meant for the poor masses. If somebody do whatever that's normal way, harass him. But let a poor man do something, he will be harassed. Say, my brother, this country, in fact, our leadership is on question. I am just telling you. Compare with the leadership in the world, it's not the same.
There are some parameters we need to put in place and check their correlation. Now look at the correlation between the population and the figure, 4.68 billion naira for just 469 people. Then Nigeria, we're like 180 million naira, and a billion is like 1,000 million. So when the teachers, or the teachers and other workers in the education sector that are clamoring for this minimum wage, they are not even up to the 180 million. I don't think they are up to 2 million, give or take. Now, when you give them, each of them 1 million naira, it's even enough to settle them. So for me, I think I'm going to suggest that this money, this 4.68 billion, they should channel it. If they can't channel the entire 4.68 billion naira to the education sector, then they should at least take a portion of it, like half of it, and give to the teachers and the lecturers and all those working in the education sector, and they will be happy. Now, when you build the education sector, believe me, you are building the Nigerian economy. So many things are going wrong in this country, but when you build the education sector, then so many things will be put right. I will support. Now, I am working in the education sector, so I'm actually going to be a bit biased when it comes to this. I would definitely support the education sector being pumped with much funds. There are so many things that need to be put in place in the universities, in federal secondary schools, and so I would suggest that we divert this money there and use them to build this institution so that the economy itself will be better and Nigeria will be a better place for us. I think the money is too much because they have other allowances they are getting. Why don't they just settle for these other allowances and let those in the education sector get this money so that this minimum wage they've been clamoring for the past how many years, and now it's getting to the final phase. Let them sign this thing, channel this money, and then everybody will be happy.
4.68 billion naira to the incoming government is too much. It's insensitive to the plight of the people of this nation. A lot of people are suffering. Even before the election, people were suffering, and instead of addressing that matter, that is a matter that is very urgently need to be addressed. Instead of addressing that matter, you are assigning 1.68 billion to incoming government. Is insensitive and selfish. Money is too much. You can use it to pay the civil servants, and that will bring in, that will make money to circulate. Money will come into everybody's hand. People, crying everywhere will stop.
4.8 billion naira to National Assembly for many people. It's much now, it's very simple, it's very much. I think that Nigeria should do something about the masses. The money is too much. What are you going to do to change their wardrobe or what? Those people already have money. There are masses that are clamoring, suffering here and there. They should share the money. They should not give them that money. And this minimum wage people have been lamenting for long. They should do something, even if it's 60 or 70%, it's not much to people, to Nigeria. We deserve it, we are masses, we work for it.
Permit me to say, like we will always believe, that nobody who is a graduate, either the secondary school graduate or the university graduate, has a right to be carrying CV and say, I'm looking for a job, when you have jobs. You know why? What is employment? Employment is any legitimate activity you engage that can give you financial reward and sustain you and sustain your livelihood. True of us. That's why this summit is very key. It's very key in the sense that what we are going to be doing is for you to understand, how can I do it better? What is that thing that has not been done? What is that solution I can provide? And how will I provide such solutions?
Without taking a poll, I know that the vast majority of you here have 1 or 2 side hustles. So you're already on your way. You're already entrepreneurs. Our problem is not actually starting up. Our problem is standing up and building an enterprise that lasts for the long term. Our problem is not the ambition to start, it's the vision to grow by scaling up. Every year, that's Jeff Bezos, the chairman and founder of Amazon. Every year, Jeff Bezos, he writes an open letter to all his shareholders, and he has done this consistently since 1997. So to date, he has written 23 letters, all right? And when you study those letters, you get an insight into the love mark, not the trademark, but the love mark that he has created and the core principles that guide Amazon's culture. So in summary, these principles are: number 1, do not worry about competitors. Number 2, do not worry about making money for shareholders. Number 3, do not worry about the short term. Think only about the long term. Long term, I mean. And then number 4, focus on customer needs, and everything else will fall in place.
There's anything I hate in life after sin is poverty. And I want you to leave this meeting making up your mind that you will never be poor. The poor will always be at the mercy of the rich. You may not agree with me, but the poor will always live for the rich. I'm a very pragmatic person. I'm an author. I've written, by the grace of God, over 100 books. Masterpieces, not just ordinary books. I know much about the earth I live. I don't want to live in ignorance, because if you live in ignorance, somebody will take your destiny and run away with it. There's anything I hate in life right from my childhood, is ignorance. Listen to me. You cannot hide a trained genius for a long time. You can only hide him for a while. But very shortly, his ingenuity will bring him out. So if you are going to make a successful entrepreneur, you must be well developed. If you will agree with me, let me tell you, and whether you agree or you don't agree, I will still say it. Life doesn't pay you according to your work, but according to your worth. It will amaze you to know that the MD of this institution does not work more than the cleaner. But he earns many times over and over more. You know why? It is not according to work, but according to worth. The problem of our world today is that many worthless people want to be great. See, listen to me. Greatness is inward. So that's why you have to pay attention to who you are. Hear this. I'm conscious of my time. It is only a slave that will look outside himself for destiny. Our major problem in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is because we always look outward for things. We are not looking inward. And that's why you have the level of what we have in that room over there. And yet, we are still the major exporter of economic migrants. You are still rated as the poverty capital of the world. You know why? Black people don't pay attention to themselves. Listen to me, school doesn't help you to pay attention to yourself. It's a personal responsibility. Because hear this, some of the people that are even teaching you in school, they have not even discovered who they are.
The world is global. Don't become a Nigerian champion and you feel proud. No.
you must be known globally. Nigeria is blessed. We have all the natural resources. We have all the brains. I've met with young people. I've met with so many people. We have good ideas. What people are looking for is that enabling environment. But we must create that environment. We can't wait for someone to create it. And in creating it, it means you must participate actively. I'm not a politician, but I tell people, go and join a political party. It does not necessarily have to be the major political party. Be a card-carrying member, because you can't change things from the outside. Our father talked about people in the abroad that we are still sending money to. It is a reality. Today we're talking and debating about illegal migration. So a lot of young people are leaving Nigeria through Libya. They want to go to Europe. I've been in a plane before with a young person who does not know his fate, and he's going to Malaysia. I made my name from this country, and I believe if you decide today that you want to be a solution, trust me, and as long as you represent people, and when I say people, in the true sense, you represent people, the sky is your starting point. Thank you.
That we must also do here now. There's one personality who would have taken time to read her citation, but permit me to quickly run down the citation because it's time for the award. And the most celebrated personality is in our midst. Please, before I go on, please round of applause for Ms. Osasu Ibinediam. She's one person that looks at me and says, you can do it. Not just say you can do it. She gives us the platform to do it. I'm talking about a personality whose contribution to our society has brought succor to the lives and families of this nation. One who has provided solution even when every other person ran away. I'm talking about the person in whose presence, in whose contribution, whose passion brought the people of Agatu out of the bondage that they experienced sometime in this nation. Please raise the award. And on that note, permit me to say that for the year 2019, Ms. Sasso Ibinediam is the recipient of the award, the Legendary Bridge Builder Award 2019.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sasso Ibinediam, for being a blessing. I'm actually delighted to give you this and to present this to you. Not because of just what you're doing or what you've done to him. Never knowing me, you've actually been a blessing. And you've actually helped me to fulfill a chunk of my destiny. And I just want to pray that this is the beginning of many. Destiny still awaits you on a much higher level, and you will be celebrated all the days of your life. So thank you.
So can I have the Sasu Show Foundation Award? This award is, they have an outstanding innovation and leadership in what they do. They're setting the pace for others to follow. We quite appreciate them. Thank you.
On behalf of the organizers, the Emerging Entrepreneurs Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited, I'm pleased to present you. You know, it's really weird, eh? I'm pleased to present you this award.
Thank you. First of all, I would just like to thank the conveners of this auspicious occasion. I am truly humbled, the Osasu Show Foundation, the Osasu Show TOS TV network. It's truly an honor to be receiving this award. But this award truly is for everyone in the room. This award is for everyone who dared to come out today to pick up one or two skills that would help them become a better entrepreneur. I moved back to the country in 2014, and I said to myself, how can I be a solution to the myriad of problems Nigeria is facing? And I decided to do that through bridging the gap. I was doing political campaigns for several politicians who were running elections in 2014, 2015, and I was doing my charity work, which is what I'm truly passionate about. which is what I believe my purpose is. So I had a good rapport with the elite and the masses, and I said, how can I be the bridge between the divide? How can I give a voice to the voiceless? How can I take words directly from the mouth of everyday Nigerians to the ears of their leaders and vice versa? And that's how the Osasu Show came about. We launched in March of 2015, and in March of 2019, we celebrated 4 years running a successful show. It hasn't been easy. In 2016, I tell this story all the time. I'm sure my good friend Hamza has heard it a million times. But we had like 15K in our bank account. That's 15,000 naira. And obviously, I had maybe 2-3 staff. I was doing everything by myself at this time. And I said, God, you have asked me to do this. You've put me in this position to amplify the voices of Nigerians. And we need money. We need money to pay airtime. We need money to empower people. We need money to conduct these interviews. And God made a way. He asked me to diversify. He said, do not rely on just one stream of income. You have to diversify your stream of income. And in 2016, we launched the first Pan-African station in Africa, TOS TV network.
That's it for today's program. To watch extended clips, you can visit our website, www.tostvnetwork.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at The Osasu Show, at TOS TV Network, at The Osasu Show Foundation, and at Osasu Igbinedion on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll see you same time, not the same place, back in our studios here in Abuja. And until then, take very good care of yourself. God bless you.
Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Market Update on TOS TV Network. My name is Ina Peters. It is a new year and we're back bigger, better and fresher. Today on the episode we're going to be finding out, how much stationaries do cost. I'm talking books, because it is that back to school period and we're here for you. We just want to let you know the things you would need and of course bring the prices just to your doorstep. Sit back, relax and enjoy today's episode. Market Update is just started. Okay guys, so I am with Mr. Uzeben, the owner of D.I. Ojesin Enterprises Nigerian Bookshop.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I like this your face cap.
That is it now.
Okay, so sir, I know it's back to school time, right?
Yes,
Children
yes.
are going back to school, primary school, secondary school, even universities, and you have this bookshop. You sell, these stationaries that children in. How market? That's the first question I will ask you. How market?
Well, market is fine now. It's little moving small, more than before. Because of how things have come to happen now. Because of situation of things in Nigeria, books are not moving as before. Although we have some challenges. Our challenges are some schools used to collect books from the publishers instead of from the bookshop. That is our challenges. But in any case, we thank God for everything.
All right, so before the schools will come to the bookshop?
Yes, and buy books. But now, they are collecting the books from the publishers. That's our challenges. And we can sell better than before. So that is the cause.
Around this time, the students that come, like what do they normally go for, say secondary school students?
They used to buy virus, some exercise books, other writing materials like eraser, sharpener and the rest of them.
But the highest demographic you get from ages what to what that normally come to buy stationaries from the shop?
Those in secondary schools like JS1 to SS3.
So what are you hoping from now to next week?
I'm hoping, because once there is life, there is hope. I hope that they will come and buy by letting some parents to come and buy the things from the school, from the market.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
We hope that people will come. I think it's just that, and yes, times are hard, but definitely the children must go to school. So we hope that business will be better the next time we come to talk to you.
Thank you very much. I'm also hoping.
Okay, so I'm sitting next to Miss Ruth of Nikki Bookshop. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, so I just want to ask, I know it's back to school period, right? So everybody's coming here to buy. How market?
There's no market.
Please tell us why.
If someone did not have money, the person cannot come to buy from us. So no business for us since there's no money.
But
by now I'm supposed to know how much I have in there, so there's no money. I did not have any customer.
Right, but this is not what usually happens.
No, it has not been like this before.
Okay, so what do you people normally sell here? Like, what are the things that people really come in to buy?
I sell stationery, all these office equipment and book things. These are school things.
Okay, but usually, if say market was very, very good, what duration of people normally come? Is it second? Do you get more primary school students or secondary school?
In fact, I don't get anyone.
I don't know. I'm saying
I used to sell carton before, but now some people are even buy pieces, not even pack. So what I have now is that there's no money. If be that there is money, people will be coming here to buy something.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so I am standing next to Mr. Emmanuel, popularly known as Mr. Atama in this shop, and he owns the stationery shop. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine.
It's back to school period, right? We know that primary school students, secondary school students, even university people right now are going back to school. My big question, today's question is, how market?
Wow, market is very, very fine and it's good also, because you know that the way that this country is now, we thank God because we are selling.
Okay, yes, this is actually because I've gone round and people are saying they are not selling. So that means you have a special grace.
That is, my name is it's like grace is following me for anywhere that I'm going, because as I'm in this shop, actually God is with me, because we are selling and other things like these books now and anything that we want to, as children want to use for back to school. Yes. So all of them is just a business, and I thank God because they are coming and are always busy selling things for them.
So what age grade of people come here? Do you mainly get customers from primary school, secondary school? Like who are your customers?
Okay, my customers is almost, you know, that we are selling also office equipment. It's not almost always, it's not solely students, you understand? So maybe at times, even like all these business center people, we are supplying things for them, something like paper and envelope and other things they are using for their office. So we are supplying for them.
All right, thank you very, very much. So you guys, this is Atama Bookshop, and the good thing is he's saying market is fine. This is the first person that's actually telling us this today. But don't go anywhere. Thank you very, very much for your time. We hope that in a week's time it will be more, it will be bigger than this.
No, Hala, my pleasure is mine. So nice doing business with you.
Thank you very, very much. Don't go anywhere, guys. Market update. We'll be right back. Wow, what an interesting episode it has been. I just want to say shout out to every parent, every elder sister, elder brother that actually take out time to go get the things that their younger ones and their children need just to have a great year at school. Even as much as, you know, almost everyone was saying market is not doing so well, I really, really, really hope that by next week things will be better. Thank you for watching Market Update. We'll see you at our next episode. Bye-bye.
At a time the world's economy is being trampled on, lives lost, families and their lineages gradually disappearing, leaders world over are striving to find solutions to the varying effects caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Forecast from the African Development Bank reveals that Africa's economic growth will rebound in 2021. There will be challenges along the way, but we will overcome them. We must start to think of inclusive policies that will catalyze economic growth, revolutionize the way we do business, but most importantly, bequeath a better brand name to the next generation of Africans. Join me at the 4th edition of the Osasu Show Symposium, themed Rethinking Africa, Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Place, virtually on www.tostvnetwork.com. Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Osasu Show. We show you a documentary prepared by TOS TV Network highlighting the rape culture here in Nigeria. We hear from activists and people who play a significant role in combating this heinous crime against the vulnerable population in our societies. Don't go anywhere, it promises to be a very educative episode.
When 13-year-old Elizabeth Ochaya died after being raped for 5 years by a cousin, all she sought was better education. When 22-year-old 100-level student of University of Benin, Uwa Omozua, was raped and killed in a church, she couldn't defend herself from false allegations that she was having an affair with a pastor. When 18-year-old Barakat Bello was gang raped and brutally murdered in Ibadan by armed robbers in a house, she felt home was a safe place. These chilling tales reign supreme, with most largely untold of women and children who are raped daily in Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation.
We live in a society in which violence is a rite of passage for women and girls in Nigeria. That there is no way you would grow up in this country as a girl before the age of 18, and that you wouldn't suffer violence. That's a reality. That shouldn't be normal. I don't think any child should have to grow up with that kind of fear. We shouldn't be getting those kind of messages. And so for me, I think that is the hardest part for me. And that the fact that we have to tell these stories to get people to care. Why should we have to share horror stories of like 6-month-old babies being raped? Or young girls being raped by teachers? Or a girl who just wanted an education and her home was too loud, so she went to church to study. And she was raped and beaten, and she died from those injuries.
Though the place of consent is reiterated, perpetrators of rape have sadly turned a deaf ear as they continue to take advantage of vulnerable women and children.
I think the main reason why we're seeing a scourge in these cases of rape across the country is because people are getting away with it, basically. And until we have a situation where people know you can't commit acts of rape or sexual violence and you will not be caught and you will not face the consequences, it would continue. I know there's a lot of debate say around now, say maybe it's just better reporting or people are more confident sharing those cases. But I will tell you this, for someone who has been working in this sector for over 15 years, what we are seeing is not just because people are reporting more. They are more heinous, they are more grievous, and it's because people have been getting away with it for many years.
There's already an established culture to the way we address these issues, and then when rape victims, come up to speak, there's really no capital punishment, so to say, when people are apprehended, for rape cases. There's really, sometimes if it is in the family circle, they sweep it under the carpet, possibly because they want to avoid embarrassment and all of that. Even the ones that are in the police custody or in the court, how many of them get justice at the end of the day? Sometimes the jurisdiction process takes a whole lot of time that the victim becomes too tired. The emotional toll on the victim becomes too much that they will want to say, okay, I don't think I want to pursue this case anymore.
There's lack of education for how parents should educate their family about rape. Let's even start from the bodies. There's lack of education there. When you go from the families go to one place regularly all their lives, and that's either the churches or the mosques. What is happening there? Nobody is educating about it. Even in the Bible, there's stories about rape, there's stories about sexual harassment, there's stories about what should happen to people who rape others. Dinah was raped at a young age, and her brothers avenged her. Joseph was sexually harassed by Mrs. Potiphar, and he was also falsely accused, and he ended up in jail. So there's no service provision available for us in church. And when you move on to the society, that's even worse. In our schools, we're not talking about sex education because we don't think we should be talking about sex education. It's an unholy thing to talk about.
20 years on, and the story of veteran broadcaster Tokumba Ajayi, who committed suicide after being gang raped by robbers, is remembered like it was yesterday. Rape is a traumatic experience that impacted victims in a physical, psychological and sociological way, yet a deadly class of people exists known as rape apologists who find a twisted way to defend and accommodate the act when survivors share their ordeal.
When we're talking about rape apologists in our culture, for me it's always important we have to go to the root cause. Where is it coming from? It's coming from rape culture. And social media is a part of our culture. So for me, when I hear, rape apologies or social media, social media in a way amplifies it. But the truth of the matter is that it's also provided platforms for survivors and victims to share their stories.
I've seen people think rapists commit the offense because a woman is dressed probably with miniskirt. Rape sometimes is motivated by lust or lustful desires. Women themselves are the ones that bring rape onto themselves. These are all fallacies.
Under no condition should anyone in his or her right senses justify the crime of rape. Rape is a very serious crime and violation against any human being. So someone coming out boldly to say, yes, she wasn't dressed well, yes, she deserved it, of course, will be punished. And I believe that the lawmakers would amend the law, and to ensure that people like this and people like that, honestly, I'm also going to move that in addition to them being charged with the crime of justification, they would also be subjected to some mental, assessment.
While in recent times we have seen the Nigerian government take steps and actions towards curbing these gender-based violence against women, the clamor for more laws, implementation and relearning for the Nigerian police, who are the first responders, linger.
NAPTIP, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, is domiciled in NAPTIP. So yes, NAPTIP is the first place you ought to have come to talk about it, because we implement the VAP Act within the FCT. Now the VAP Act gives us the powers to arrest and prosecute offenders, and to also rescue these children or the victims, because not all victims are children. We also have adults who are raped as well. We give them psychosocial support, and then we also empower them at the end of the day.
Security and safety of people and property lies with the government, and the government has a responsibility to ensure that when cases of rape are reported, whether it's in the hospitals, in police stations, or brought to the attention of the authorities by whatever means, the first thing is for them to investigate. The second is to ensure that they are able to support the process. And this is where a lot of governments are failing.
I'm not happy with the way the Nigerian government is handling issues of violence against women and girls. Rape is just one factor of it. But in general, when we're talking about violence against women and girls, I really don't believe that the Nigerian government is prioritizing it. You know, and what happened is that this entire pandemic and COVID has revealed that, you know, they don't take it seriously. And for a country like Nigeria, where when we look at the data that we have, the little data that we have, and you look at the Nigerian Demographic and Household Survey, what you see is that between 2013 and 2018, that violence actually increased.
Not all police stations in the whole of the Federation can boast of a standard gender desk, but that is the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate ambition. But I can tell you that well over 80% of the stations and 100% of the state CIDs and 100% of the state command headquarters has got these facilities. And for us, this is a good that is substantial progress, looking at where we are coming from and where we want to go. And the trainings are ongoing. And other things we are doing is also, part of other things we are doing include strengthening of our collaboration and partnership with other agencies, because there are also other agencies that are saddled with some of the responsibilities. And so the National Agency for the Prohibition in Trafficking in Persons, for example, we work very closely with them. We're also working very closely with the National Human Rights Commission, because sometimes some people, when they feel their right has been violated, will send information across to them, and they will transmit those information to us for investigation. We're also working with a lot of NGOs that are focused on helping women, children, and those in vulnerable positions. And the Nigeria Police the Nigeria Police Force has also established a foundation that is currently under the management of the Force Medical Department, the Force Medical Unit. They are manned by our doctors, and then they provide both medical and psychological support to victims of rape.
According to a report from the United Nations and the World Health Organization, globally, 1 in 10 girls will experience sexual assault, and this increased violence has traditionally been viewed as a result of gender inequality.
There are more reported cases of women being raped. That is not to say a lot of boys are not being raped. It's all about reporting, because if you do not report, what are we going to be working with? Secondly, I think by the time we begin to balance the gender equality, things like this will be reduced to the barest minimum. For example, if we have 10 directors somewhere, 8 of them are probably men, just 2 women. If you go to the assembly, for example, you find out that most of the House of Rep members are men, majority. You have very few women as members of the House of Reps. You have very few female senators. Go back to the states. You have very few women as... I don't think we have any female governor right now. We don't have even 1 female governor. And then for those who have deputy governors, we have maybe 1 or 2. We should start from that. If anybody is going to run, your running mate has to be a woman. And so on and so forth. Because when you begin to make the men realize that you are not superior to the women in any way, you went to school together, the women probably had better grades than you, and so on and so forth.
We've been talking a whole lot about the girl child, how we should develop the girl child, how we should empower the girl child. Fine, it's an imperative. I also feel that there is a gap in how we have also mentored, trained, and developed the boy child.
According to Ellie Whistle, there may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest. Each of us can play a role in eradicating rape and gender-based violence against women.
For those who are in the habit of raping, I just want to tell you to change your ways, because ignorance is not an excuse. If we catch you, if we arrest you, we'll first take you to the psychiatric hospital for treatment. If you claim that you are mad, we'll treat that madness, and from the madness, we'll escort you to prison where you belong.
You're really sick. You need to get help. I hope you don't rot in jail. I want you to live the rest of your life to see what you have done to this young woman. And I hope that it begins to taunt you and haunt you. And then if you get to a point where you realize your mistakes, I hope you become the kind of person that will begin to counsel other people not to do the terrible crime that you did.
It's heartbreaking. It's tiring, it's heartbreaking, it is. I'm enraged. So I think if this country, wants to pretend that they're a country that believes in God, or that says they value the life of their children, then they need to do the work that is required to create safe spaces for children everywhere.
We all have a role to play. Our parents have got roles to play. Our teachers in school, our religious leaders, and our political leaders. And so the entire socialization process should be activated to play a role. And then the media has got a role to play. As a matter of fact, I've also seen rape victims who say part of the reason why they don't want to report is because of the way these things are usually reported in the media. So we must work together, push together, and together, I believe, we will surmount this rising challenge of rape within our polity.
That's it for today's program. Do follow us on social media at The Osasu Show, at TOS TV Network, at The Osasu Show Foundation, and at Osasu Igbinedion on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. To get involved with our foundation, which focuses primarily on women and girls, you can visit our website, www.theosasusshowfoundation.org. To read our news on sustainable development and current affairs across Africa, visit our website, www.tostvnetwork.com. I'll see you same time, same place next week. Until then, keep washing your hands, practicing physical distancing, and staying safe. God bless you. At a time the world's economy is being trampled on, lives lost, families and their lineages gradually disappearing, leaders world over are striving to find solutions to the varying effects caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Forecast from the African Development Bank reveals that Africa's economic growth will rebound in 2021. There will be challenges along the way, but we will overcome them. We must start to think of inclusive policies that will catalyze economic growth, revolutionize the way we do business, but most importantly, bequeath a better brand name to the next generation of Africans. Join me at the 4th edition of the Osasu Show Symposium, themed Rethinking Africa, Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Place, virtually on www.tostvnetwork.com.
to trap the heat from going back to the atmosphere.
It's risen far higher than 42, 44, and even 45 degrees.
The issue of climate change has raised serious concerns around the world. This phenomenon has paved way for the alterations in environmental structures that keep the balance of the Earth. Glaciers have been shrunk, ice on rivers and lakes are breaking up earlier than usual, which in turn will result in a tremendous rise in sea levels and may lead to flooding, thereby causing threats to the coastal environment. Climate change also increases the appearance of more violent weather phenomena, droughts, fires, the death of animal and plant species, the creation of climate refugees, and the destruction of the food chain and economic resources, especially in developing countries like Nigeria.
The heat we are experiencing over the surface is not directly from the sun.
There is no rainfall.
It has gotten to a stage where it's become unbearable.
For the past few months, residents and people living in Nigeria have been complaining of the excessive heat. This is one of the adverse effects of the climate change and the weather condition.
We have been hearing heat wave, heat wave, heat wave. We don't know what heat wave is all about.
If while we're on Earth, it can be this hot, if you go to hell, it's a big problem.
In this documentary, we will be finding out more about the heat waves, the cause, the most affected areas, the effects, and how we can survive this period. We will be discussing with experts and residents, giving them an opportunity to share their thoughts on the issue.
Towards a poor resettlement, traffic is a jam.
The worst affected areas are from the north central to the northern region. It's worse in this region because there is no rainfall. The temperatures are also generally high in other parts of the country, especially in the southern coast. You can get up to 35 degrees in places like Lagos, in places like Osun. You can also get up to 35 degrees. But it rains there, so it's better. It feels better for residents. But from the north central to the northern far north region, it's quite bad. It's very hot and it should be a problem, should be a cause of concern for many people.
What is largely responsible for a situation like this is mainly the changes that we have been witnessing in climate of a number of areas. Normally in the tropics, meaning areas that are low lying at location are closer to the equator, meaning low latitudes. Such locations normally are typically associated with high temperatures. But because of the changes that we are now witnessing in climate, the amount of heat we are witnessing over a particular period of time is now increasing. That is why the trend of heat occurrence is now common in some areas. That was this terminology, this term is used in most areas to describe this heat that is trending over an area for a long period of time.
The weather in the country has been changing. You know, there are a lot of uncertainties, sometimes difficult. You know, the seasons are changing and they are not as the way we used to know them. Especially in respect with the heat. It's so hot these days that a lot of people are complaining.
The weather condition in the country has actually been terrible. I think we've never had it like this. It's really been hot, very, very hot. In fact, I actually heard somebody comparing it with, you know, if while we're on Earth, it can be this hot. It can be this hot. If you go to hell, it's a big problem. That's the way I heard somebody, you know, talking about the weather conditions. So that's how bad it is.
The weather condition in the country has been extremely hot, scorching hot. It has gotten to a stage where it's become unbearable. People are becoming very undaring. And apart from the fact that we are adaptive to the weather because we've been here for a long time, but during this period, it's been more intense compared to previous weather conditions we've had in Abuja.
Experts say that the normal temperature for the human body is ranged at 36.5 to 37.5 degrees Celsius. When it goes above this, it becomes discomforting. In Nigeria, however, the heat from the atmosphere has clocked and surpassed the normal temperature, creating record-breaking degrees and leaving Nigerians in serious discomfort. The reason remains obscure in the minds of the ordinary Nigerians, but the experts know better.
It's risen far higher than 42. There are places like Sokoto and Yola, we have recorded 44 and even 45 degrees. And you know, it's funny because around this time last year, when I was presenting the weather, around this time last year, when we see a city which is going to strike up to 40 degrees, it's a big deal. Like, okay, the hottest location in Nigeria is going to be 40 degrees. That is usually in Yola. It used to be very hot. We thought it was very hot then. But this year we are seeing Yola rising up to 44 degrees. So it's really unusual. And many people feel that it could be linked with climate change. The climate is definitely changing, and one of the ways it is manifesting is extreme weather conditions. And for Nigeria, we're having this very hot weather at this time.
Because of emission of greenhouse gases. Now, those greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and all that, nitrous oxide and all that, they tend to trap the heat from going back to the atmosphere, okay? So because of this trapping, a lot of the heat is retained down here on Earth. That is why, one of the reasons why we have a lot of heat these days.
The heat we are having over the Earth's surface is not directly from the sun. That is what people need to know, is the heat we are experiencing over the Earth's surface is not directly from the sun, because the heat coming from the sun is not the actual heat that is heating up the Earth's surface. What tends to happen is when the heat comes to the Earth's surface, part of it is absorbed, part of it is sent back to the atmosphere. When it is being sent back to the atmosphere, it is known as a long wave radiation. When it is coming, it is known as short wave radiation. So when it is going back to the atmosphere, this heat is trapped in the atmosphere, and it is the amount of heat trapped in the atmosphere that heats up the Earth's surface. So essentially, the heat we are experiencing is not directly from the sun, but from the atmosphere.
Basically, we all know there's been climate change. There's been so much talk about it. We've had scientists all over the world, you know, talk about the changes we are having in terms of all these emissions from vehicles, from industries, and what have you. I want to believe that it's a problem that it's coming from, you know, climate change. So
we say global warming is being accelerated due to uncontrolled emission of greenhouse gases, uncontrolled manufacturing of production of things like oil, mass production of industries that are not controlled, releasing all forms of harmful gases into the air that harm the ozone layers.
I can't say CO2 emission because we don't have industries in Abuja here. But I can't even say vehicles because we don't have that number of volume of vehicles to cause emission. But this period is like maybe we're having a version of the global warming.
Our predictions have shown that highest temperatures within the country are expected, particularly in the extreme northern part of the country. And so far our records have shown that within the northeastern part of the country, for this year, we have recorded temperatures of as high as 42 and 43 degrees. So between the first quarter towards the beginning of the second quarter, the highest temperatures to be recorded over the country, the highest will be 40 degrees. But we have already, our records have shown that there are some locations for some days that within the month of particularly March, we recorded temperatures of high as 43 degrees centigrade.
It's been hot for about a month now. It started getting hot in February, March. This is April. I think it peaked at the beginning of April. The heat went very high in April. But by May, the heat would have subsided because the northeasterly trade winds, which bring the dry weather, will be leaving the country, giving way to a new season and that's the rainy season. And it's because it's going to start raining, we are not going to be having so much high temperature again. In fact, in cities like Abuja, we've had a couple of rainfalls. This April, there was a storm, although the weather is still hot, but it's just to signify that very soon we get a respite from the rains. And by May, the heat wave would have gone down and would have given way to the rains. It's not going to get worse. It's in about a month's time, most of the states in Nigeria that have been experiencing this heat wave will get some respite because the northeast trade winds are on their way out. They're the ones that bring the dry weather, and the rains are coming.
When you want to compare the climate change or the weather as it is today and what it was before, I think a typical place we can use in Nigeria is Plateau State, Jos, for instance. I practically travel to Jos every week, and it is hot. And that place is one place we know for the tourist attraction and everything that happens over there. People come there because they believe the weather is very friendly. It's a place when you are there, it's as if you are abroad. But today, it is not like that. Abuja is actually hotter than Jos. And I think I heard a colleague of mine saying sometime last week that we had up to 40-something degrees Celsius, and that is hot. If we can have 40 degrees upwards Celsius, that is really hot.
Abuja itself, it's been hot previously, so I think it's a phase. Maybe by next year it might be a bit mild, but this time it's a bit intense. Probably the global warming has extended towards this region. 2019 is more intense. You know, it's been after the election and everything, the heat came with its own issue. It's been serious.
Like last year, the weather was not so as in hot like this year.
Akwai zafi kam duk shekarun da sun wuce, amma wannan yayi yawa.
Gaskiya akwai zufa sosai wannan shekaran da ake, ana zufa sosai fiye da wasu shekaru. Wannan shekaran da yafi na wasu shekarun gaskiya. Akwai zufa sosai a wannan shekaran.
I think this is one of the hottest years for this decade. Even if there is another, I don't think they may be on the same level, but this year is certainly hotter than last year. And last year was hotter than the previous year. So we cannot say that it will get better next year. It could get worse, especially if the issues, the factors that cause the heat wave are not changing. So if the global warming trend, the climate change trend continues, it's possible that next year is going to be hotter.
When the experience of this year is placed side by side with the previous years, the experts and the ordinary residents seem to agree that the situation is getting worse, and the residents have fashioned out ways for themselves to manage this period of heat. But when we consider the electricity situation in the country, we wonder how effective these ways are.
The government is not too good. If the government is good, you see that they steady light. If they steady light, even there's heat, you will not feel as much as that. Do you understand? Right now, even when there's light, you on your fan, you will discover the fan will turn so much at the point you start hurting.
Actually, if you look at me, last year, I was a little bit fair more than this year. Because after bathing, I can't be able to rub cream, and it's because of the hotness of the weather.
Like a day, we bath like 5 times. We sleep outside like from 7 to 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock before we get inside.
Ya samu muna wanka a rana, mu wanka kusan sau 4, mu sha ruwa, muna shan ruwa sau 5 a rana. We have been
hearing heat wave, heat wave, heat wave. You don't know what heat wave is all about. Since the inception of my life, I've never heard what heat wave is all about. Even when rain falls, you cannot know the difference whether rain is falling or not. The weather is so hot, everywhere is so hot. And the worst thing is that there's no light.
When you on your fan, there is kind of hot this thing that is even coming out. Instead of us to receive cool breeze, it's when you come to outside. Like my children, they don't normally put on dress after bathing. I don't normally rub them cream because of the weather.
They will give us light like 5 days on, 2 days off, and that 2 days is not easy for us because everywhere is hot.
Gaskiya wannan hijabi da muke sawa akwai zufa sosai saboda zufan da ake a wannan shekaran fiye da wasu shekarun ana zufa sosai amma addinin mu ne dole sai mun sa mu rufe jikin mu.
This is what causes one of the sickness they used to call meningitis. They used to call it like that. Look, my brother, it's better you have cool than having heat.
In the case of meningitis, you know that when people are living together, there's a way that the disease is transmitted, and heat is one of the risk factors that aid the transmission of that meningitis. So we tend to see a lot of cases of meningitis during the hot season or hot weather. There's an increase in the number of cases of meningitis seen, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. Heat stroke, heat stress. You know, people will present and not actually have those kind of utterance, those kind of grammar. But yes, there are people who present, people with hypertension come down. There's more hospitalization. That's what I mean. So yes, we're beginning to see some cases of such effects.
The issue of climate change is real and should not be taken lightly. One of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 13, is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. These words should sink in our minds and remind us of the impending danger that will befall the Earth in generations to come if we do not take action to reduce the effect of climate change. The question remains, how can a person survive this period of extreme heat? What has been done so far to combat climate change, and what more can be done?
To present to you the 2019 seasonal rainfall prediction.
Nigerian Meteorological Agency produces and issue out drought and flood prospect bulletin, the agro-meteorological bulletin, as well as seasonal rainfall prediction, among others.
You see, for the past 2 decades, we in Nigeria, we have appreciated the fact that the climate of the country has been disrupted. We have been noticing changes in the climate systems of the country, which are quite different from what we have in the country. Because the good thing about the climate is year in, year out, you are making observation. Over a long period of time, if the trend is similar, you can know. If the trend is changing, you can know. Over the last 2 decades, we have already started witnessing that climate has changed is actually a reality in the country. And in response to that, what we have been doing in the country is the Nigerian government has been coming up with a number of policies and programs that are aimed at modifying our activities, human activities that are largely responsible for these disruptions in the climate of the country. So there are a lot of policies, there are a lot of programs that have been rolled out by the Nigerian government in order to address these problems.
Surviving the heat at this time is, you just have to come up with your own DIYs, you know, do it yourself. For instance, sometimes I have to wake like 3 times or 4 times at night to just splash some cold water on my body to make sure that, you know, I don't get dehydrated and all that. And then we can't cook so much because you know what it is, electricity. We don't have power always in Nigeria. And when you cook as a woman, a mother in the house, if you cook and you want to preserve your food, it's a problem today because the heat is so much and it spoils the food, and the electricity too to power your fridge and everything is not available. So we cook less. We cook what we can eat for a meal. These are some of the mechanisms I have come up with as an individual to cope with the heat wave.
Every individual can contribute towards reducing the rate of climate change. We may look ordinary, but you can all contribute in your own little way. Try as much as possible to promote the use of safe energy. And if you're a policymaker, you're in a position to take decisions and change policies. You can also advocate for the use of greener energy, safer energy, energy that is more friendly to the earth, such as wind, water, and solar energy. And if you're caught up in the heat wave, try to stay safe, try to be stay hydrated, drink water and other cool water mainly. Let's not get involved in things like coffee and all, because these other drinks could also dry the body. So it's good to take cold water regularly, stay hydrated, stay cool, stay in cool places. Then if you have small children or elderly people around you, make sure that they are also safe, because they may take these things for granted.
Like you can hear from the background, it's gen on. So yeah, if you don't, it's going to affect a lot of people who can't afford to stay or, you know, use the generator. So you can imagine what people are going through. If you have the gen, it's going to cost you money. But if there's light, good for you. But when there's power outage and you don't have fuel, you're in trouble. So I think the government should look into solar-powered electricity to see if maybe they could use these good resources to, you know, to a good use. It could be an advantage to the economy also. This is I think we are in that state we should make use of the natural resources we have. The sun alone can be enough solar-powered channel for electricity. I think we should look into it, because this level of heat could power a whole city. Not the heat, the sunlight itself could power a whole city. It's really hot. Like when there's power outage at night, you're tempted to sleep butt naked at night.
It's a lot of practical things that we have to do to reduce the effect of heat stress or heat stroke. As per individuals, it's just common sense. Stay out from the heat, stay out from the sun, wear sunglasses, wear light clothing, okay? And don't go doing your physical education or your jogging or something in the afternoon when it's very hot. You can do it either in the mornings or late in the evenings when it's cooler. Then if, for instance, somebody by some stroke of maybe bad luck, somebody is having symptoms of heat stress or heat stroke, they need medical attention. They need to be rushed to the hospital where they will get medical attention. Individuals are supposed to eat light, okay? Light, balanced diet. Don't eat too much protein, because it takes the body a lot of metabolism. The metabolic rate will go high. And as the metabolic rate goes high, the person will also generate heat in their body. So that will rather worsen the situation. So eat light things that the body can digest easily, like plant, salad things, those kind of things. Drink a lot of water is another thing that individuals can do. Don't drink alcohol. You know, when you drink alcohol, you start sweating. You're also losing fluid. Don't drink caffeinated drinks, because they also make you urinate a lot. Every ministry has a role to play. The health sector, for instance, we are majoring on what is called adaptation, but we also have some things to do with mitigation. Okay, the transport we use, the ambulance, the kind of gas we use in the hospital, some of them have what they call global warming potentials. That is, they are capable of causing emitting gases that will trap this heat. We have to change from buying those kind of gases and acidic gases and buy the ones that don't have much of that effect, much of that side effect. You know, so there's a lot to do. Ministry of Environment has its role to play. Water Resources has its place. Health, we have our main focus is on human beings, you know, and the hospitals. How we can make, we don't want people going to the hospitals with one illness and coming out with another one, those kind of things. So we all have things and roles to play.
business is very slow, very, very bad. You can see there is nobody here. Since morning I've not sold anything. We traders, it's affecting us. We business people, it's affecting us seriously. The exchange rate, everything, the economy, everything is very, very bad. I have Daviva, I have Excellence, I have High Target, I have Hollandis, I have laces, I have Georges, I have dry lace, I have all types of material, because they say they don't want a foreign one, but these ones are, where are they from? Even the Ankara, are they buying it? If the price drop, people will rush and buy. The economy is so bad. Before, High Target, we are selling High Target before 3,280, but now High Target is 5,000. So this thing is very high. If things is down, people will come and buy, both rich and the poor. But this time around, people are buying foodstuffs. They will just buy something that will eat before they will talk about material, before they will talk about clothes or whatever. And it's affecting us. This is Christmas. Like 3 years ago, we know that by now we are selling. People are buying. But this period, nobody is buying. I'm telling you what is happening here. And there is no money in circulation. People are suffering.
Well, business now with the ones before is not the same. Like now, people are suffering. Everybody's complaining in this country now due to the bad government. Like other years, by this time, other years, I normally have contracts traveling to this different states or the other to make business. The way the country is, that's why people are not coming like before. I believe that if the country is good, things normally move well. Like during this time, the prices of goods, I know how much we normally buy goods and how much we sell. But this time the prices are high. We have quality materials. We have the one that called jacquard cotton. We have damask. We have different products. Some made from China, some are made from India, some are made from US. And those prices before, we normally get them cheap. But now they are expensive. I have cottons of 3,000 naira per yard. I have the one of 1,500 per yard. I have the one of 2,500. They are different prices. So, which I know before, those ones of 1,500, you can get them 1,000. Those ones of 3,000, you can get them 1,000 something, 2,000.
Last year is a little bit encouraging. By 18th of last year, there's a lot of turnover. But this time around, I don't know whether it is because of economic crisis or something of that nature. Everything is so totally poor. So the turn-up of this year is very, very poor. We pray that Almighty God will give us strength to overcome the stress of this nation. There is no money in the country, not the price of things. The price of things are a little bit encouraging. You don't even see people that will price, not talk more of the prices, not pricing to the extent of the cost price. You can see that the inside the market looks like a playground. Last 3-4 years, there's a total turn-up of business. By this time, people are rushing. You will sense the sense of Christmas. There's nothing like sense of Christmas in this period. You cannot say below price, so you have to be expecting a little bit profit from what you are selling. I think we need a total change from this situation. This government don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. They don't have a future for the masses. They don't have a positive plan for the poor. We need a total change of the economy of this nation so that there will be an improvement. I pray that there will be a change of government so that the life will be improved.
Normal. Things are not adding, things are not reducing. Everything is normal. It's only that people are not coming now in the markets. If they come, I will sell normal. It's for me. If they come, the normal price I used to sell, I will sell.